Good morning. Sunday morning.
Good morning, everyone. Sunday morning. Today is December 6th, 2020. It's me, your host, Danny from Body Politic Media. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. I asked followers last night to send me questions for today's show, and I got a bunch of really good stuff. So I'm going to spend the show talking about that. I guess to recap what's going on here in America, Donald Trump and his whacked out supporters are still out there whining about the election. Joe Biden is out there talking about not much of anything at all, and Congress is debating and maybe passing a $900 billion relief bill that doesn't actually offer much relief to the people at all. Coronavirus is running wild. We're plunging into an economic depression. Things are not going good out there, so we will see what happens. But I wanted to get to these questions from followers. So let's start with my good buddy, Nehemiah St. Danger. He's a close friend down in LA, and he asked me, why is Western media so bad at covering African issues? Ethiopia / Tigray, Bobi Wine in Uganda, etc. So, Nehemiah, to answer your question, Western media is not really, and this isn't really a surprise to many people, but Western media isn't really in the business of informing or educating the public. You know, these guys are, let's take CNN for an example. CNN is a business. They're in it to make money. And, news in America is basically just talk shows now. So, it's not in their financial best interest or the best interest of their advertisers to talk about things like what's going on in Africa. But, it got me thinking that this also extends to me. I guess in a weird way, I'm a part of Western media, and, I don't really talk about these things much at all. So, and it's not for the reasons why CNN and these guys do it, but, I get caught up in the day-to-day American politics, and it's not the right thing to do. So I'm going to try going forward to be better at this and to talk about these things. So I'm going to do a little bit of it right now. As far as Bobi Wine in Uganda goes, I heard a little bit about this, but I had to read up a bunch this morning. Bobi Wine is a legislator in Uganda, and he is attempting to challenge the current president. He's also a singer, a popular singer in Uganda. So there's a presidential election coming up in Uganda in January, and Bobi Wine, since he's become a politician, has been arrested numerous times. And just in the last few weeks, security forces in Uganda have been firing upon his supporters at his rallies. Bobi was just arrested last week, I think, and released. So it's a really messed up situation there. The current president has been in power for a long time. He keeps changing the law to allow him to run again. Because I think in that country you have to be, or you can't be older than 75 to be president, but they keep changing the laws. So Bobi Wine is challenging power, and they don't like that. So as of this morning, from what I've read, Bobi Wine has suspended his campaign for the presidency because security forces and police keep shooting at him and his supporters. So it's a messed up situation there. I don't really know how it's going to play out, but I can promise you that I'm going to be covering this story going forward. And as far as what's going on in Ethiopia in the Tigray region, again, I had to, and this goes to the heart of the question, Nehemiah, is that I couldn't find any American media that is covering this story. So I had to go to Al Jazeera or France 24, which is a good organization. And basically, in Ethiopia, there's a war going on between Eritrea and Sudan and Ethiopia, and it's all centered in the Tigray region. So it's creating a lot of violence coming from all sides, and a lot of civilians in the Tigray region are being killed, and their towns are being looted, kind of from all sides. It's a very complicated situation, but it's creating a lot of refugees. A lot of people are leaving Ethiopia and going into refugee camps in the Sudan and places like that. So it's a really sad, complicated, and violent situation there. So this is another story that I'm going to be covering going forward. So Nehemiah, love you, brother. Thank you for your question, and thanks for pushing me to be better at my job. Also, Nehemiah Saint Danger, my buddy, just released a record. I posted about it a couple nights ago. It's a great record. Check it out. Okay, so moving forward, this is from follower Beyond the Headlines. Whom would you want to be Speaker of the House instead of Nancy Pelosi? You know, usually when people, answer this question or think about this, they like to go with somebody, and even progressives. You know, like the progressive choice right now, a lot of people say somebody like Congresswoman Barbara Lee, who's been in Congress a long time. She is a progressive, adjacent type politician. Barbara Lee is great. She's had a good career. But I don't really think about it like that. I don't really necessarily want to go with somebody that has a lot of, experience. A lot of these people have been in Congress a long time, with a few exceptions. They have experience in Congress, which is not the kind of experience that I necessarily want. This is an experience in corruption and not really getting much done. So to answer your question, my first choice would be Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. And if we want to talk about experience, if you guys aren't familiar with Ilhan's story, and this kind of goes back to Nehemiah's question, is that she is from Somalia, and she was a refugee, and she had to leave Somalia, and she spent a couple of years as a kid in a refugee camp, and then made it all the way to America, grew up in Minnesota, and became a congresswoman before the age of 40. So that's the type of experience that I would want to see in a speaker. And then, just politically speaking, Ilhan Omar, I think, is one of the bravest and most left politicians we have. So Ilhan would be fantastic. Rashida Tlaib would be fantastic. I mean, hell, I would make Cori Bush, who hasn't even been sworn into Congress, I would make her Speaker of the House. So this is just my thinking. And to make somebody, it's not without precedent, by the way. In the 1800s, when Henry Clay was elected to the House of Representatives, they made him Speaker of the House on the first day on the job. So any of these people would be better than Nancy Pelosi, obviously, but as far as putting somebody in there that has experience, I just don't really look at it that way. I think we need a major change in leadership, and somebody like Ilhan Omar would be my speaker if, I had a magic wand. So thank you for that question. Next, from a follower, longtime follower and patron, Are You Cat Eyes? I never really know how to say that handle name, but do you think we should do a massive worker strike? Yes. This kind of goes to yesterday I posted about in India there is the largest general strike in the history of the world. Some 250 million people are on strike in India, and they're trying to bring change, much needed change to that country. So in America, I think that if we're ever really going to want to get anything big done, working within the current system is a long haul, and I can't really see big change happening. But if somehow we can get our shit together in America and come up with some sort of general strike nationwide, this would be the way to do it. We have protests, and a lot of big protests going on throughout the summer. Everybody knows this. We had the Occupy movement 6-7 years ago, but these things end up getting squashed in the end. So a massive general strike is something that eventually we're going to have to figure out how to organize and execute. And again, it's not really in our political culture or DNA in America to do this sort of thing. And that's also what I see as a part of my job, is to try to influence and change the political culture in America. So yes on general strike. It would be great if we could figure out how to do it, and I'm going to try to encourage it any way that I can. Next, this is from follower Carol, the Cafe Girl. How do we take down Mitch? He's the shield for American corporatist government. That's a hell of a question. And I'll also add that people like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi are also part of the giant shield for American corporatist government. So it's not just Mitch, and it's not just the Republicans. But as far as taking out Mitch, he just got elected to another 6-year term, so he's not going anywhere anytime soon. It would have been nice to run an actual progressive, candidate against him, like Charles Booker in the last election, but we didn't do that, unfortunately. But as far as taking power away from Mitch, we have the 2 special elections in the Senate in Georgia on January 5th. And if Democrats go in both of these, then that would take a lot of power away from Mitch McConnell. So it is possible. I hope that the Democrats can win both these seats in Georgia, and that would make a 50-50 split in the Senate, and Kamala Harris would be the tie-breaking vote. So these are really important elections. And tonight, I think on CNN and probably all the channels, maybe just CNN, one of the Georgia Senate races, there's going to be a debate with Raphael Warnock and Kelly Loeffler. So watch that on CNN. I think it's on at like 5 o'clock tonight or something like that. Okay, next question. This is from follower Saz Balls. Do you know about Casey Goodman? I think it's Casey Goodson, actually. The 23-year-old black man murdered by police Friday. Yes, I read this story over the weekend. It's another terrible, tragic story of police violence and the murdering of an unarmed black man. This has become a sad part of, American culture. But as far as I understand the story goes, Casey Goodson, 23-year-old man, had just left the dentist office. He stopped by Subway, picked up a sandwich. He was going into his home and unlocking his door, holding a sandwich, and the police shot him in the back 3 times and murdered him. They said that they were looking for somebody that looked like him. Of course, that's always the fucking story. And they thought that his Subway sandwich was a gun. So they killed him. So I don't know what's going to happen with this one. It's under investigation. This happened in, I believe, Columbus, Ohio. So it's another terrible story. And this is, again, why, we're seeing continuous protests. Something's got to be done about this. It's just terrible. And I think there is one more question. Let me see. This is from Bulldog Chewing Wasps. Do you think the reason Jimmy Carter is alive is due to the fact that his peanut farm hasn't withered? I don't really know what that means. That's probably like some sort of weird like Reddit inside joke. But Jimmy Carter is still alive. I think Jimmy Carter is a good person. And I'm glad he's still alive. So, yay, Jimmy Carter. So that's kind of it, everybody. I want to thank everybody for their questions. And it kind of got me out of my funk and started making me think about outside of our little bubble here. And, I want to start doing better at my job. So I'm going to do that. So thank everybody for their questions. Hopefully everybody's staying safe as always. I love you guys, and have a good rest of your Sunday.